What's up everyone, I'm in Medellin, Colombia at the moment, and I'm making this video to talk about the Jiu Jitsu Academies in Medellin, Colombia. If you're interested in traveling to Medellin and you're looking for places to train Jiu Jitsu, I've pretty much been to every single one of them, so I'm going to break them down in this video for you. That way you can have a little bit of a roadmap whenever you arrive, because they're all in different parts of town, they all have a different vibe, they all have a different kind of demeanor about them, so I'm going to break it down just from my perspective. Keep in mind that the experiences that I have, like my interpretation of these academies, it really only comes from a few experiences. Some of these academies I've only trained at a few times, so I'm trying to take in everything that I can in the first few experiences that I have at these gyms. But I think that for many travelers, you're going to have a very similar experience that I've had coming to these gyms, at least if you're from America. It might be different if you're from a different part of the country. If you're going to come to Medellin, Colombia, and you're going to want to train Jiu-Jitsu, then you're going to need to bring a gi. If you see right here, I got my gi pants on. Having the gi pants is an absolute necessity. The whole kimono, it's an absolute necessity. You're not really going to be able to train anywhere without it. Some gyms, they might have 1 or 2 days where they have a no gi class, but really it's all gi. But pretty much every gym requires a gi. At some gyms you can rent a gi, and that varies by academy, but generally it's around $10 to rent a gi. So you definitely want to bring your own gi if you want to train a lot, because otherwise it's going to rack up pretty quickly. There's some gis here that you can buy. I had to buy a gi for about 250 mil, which is like 70 something dollars. So I'm gonna break it down just in the order of the academies that I went to first. So first academy I went to in Medellin was MMA Columbia, and MMA Columbia it's kind of in the name, you know, the emphasis at this gym is MMA. So if you're interested in training striking or MMA or Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu, this is the gym to go to. As far as Jiu-Jitsu goes, I didn't feel that there was a huge emphasis on the Jiu-Jitsu program. I feel that the kickboxing and the striking programs were a little bit more popular, but at the same time, there are some really good high-level guys there that train. I think that they had the most options as far as no-gi training there, so if you want a place to train no-gi, I think this is a good spot. Yeah, MMA Columbia is a great gym to go to if you really want to cross-train between Jiu-Jitsu and a striking martial art. I think it's a good place for that. It's really close to the Aguacatala metro station, which is just one metro station south of Poblado, which is where a lot of the the touristy gringos go to stay when they first come to Medellin. So if you're staying in Poblado, staying near Aguacatala, it's really not far. It's not hard to get to at all. It's a short walk from the Aguacatala metro station. Second academy, speaking of Poblado, is Gracie Baja. Gracie Baja is, I would say, it's probably the Poblado Jiu-Jitsu school. You see a lot of gringos here. You see a lot of people speaking English. The head instructor currently in 2019, he's a brown belt there. He's a super cool guy, super awesome guy. He speaks perfect English. So if you go to him and you don't speak any Spanish, this is a really good gym for that, because, like I said, perfect English, easy to understand everything. Pretty sure most of the classes he goes back and forth, just because there's such a just such a large amount of people there that speak English. Also, another thing about Gracie Baja is they have fantastic music. I mean, this is just a personal preference. Obviously, the music varies everywhere you go. I think at MMA Columbia, I heard a bit of Nas, which I think it's really common in the Jiu-Jitsu community. But the music it's on during the Jiu-Jitsu classes is unique and it's awesome. So if you want a place for like really good jam, for me that's very important, because I feel when an academy has good music, I'm able to just turn it up like an extra, I'm able to give it an extra 10, 15, 20%. Open mat at Gracie Baja is at 6 o'clock on Fridays. Next on the list, the third academy that I went to in Medellin, Colombia is Covina. Covina Jiu-Jitsu. The way I would describe this place is it's a very the head instructor has a very serious demeanor. It's a very serious vibe. At a lot of academies in Medellin, you have Colombians just are very lively, kind of goofy people, very fun. Nothing too serious. But this gym is a little bit different. I feel people were a little bit more kind of like a show up and train attitude. So. And for me, that's not personally the kind of gym that I'm from, so I don't really kind of dig it that much. But if you're someone who wants more of a disciplined kind of structure, I wouldn't even say class, just demeanor, I would say this is the gym to go to if you're looking for that kind of vibe. But it's a little bit far away from the metro station. I would say it's kind of south of Poblado. It's one of the more difficult schools to get to, I would say. But hey, the instructor I felt, he's a nice guy. He's very straightforward, but it's for me personally, it's a little bit different from what I'm used to. And there's not an open mat. So, next on the list is Checkmat Jiu-Jitsu. Checkmat Jiu-Jitsu is on the Adelas part of town. It's near El Stadio. And I really dig the vibe of the Adelas and El Stadio part of town. It's north of Poblado. It's kind of, if you're coming and you're just going to Poblado, it's a pretty far place to go. But I highly recommend the Adelas part of town. There's a little, it has less of a touristy vibe. There's still some expats over there, but I don't know, it has a very youthful vibe. If you go to the stadium, there's a million different sports you could do. You just see Colombians doing these crazy trick calisthenic stuff, and you could play basketball, soccer. They even have like martial arts tournaments for kids going on in these little stadiums that they have just everywhere. So El Stadio is a really cool part of town, and Check My Jiu Jitsu is honestly, it's one of my favorite places to train in Medellin, Colombia, mainly because the head instructor, it feels like a very like mom and pop kind of gym, but he is a black belt. I believe he's a world champion in IBJF. I would have to double check that. Like, he has a very highly competitive background, and I really like that. Like I said, it's all gi, it's all IBJF rules, which is not something I particularly like, but I appreciate it. And he is someone who I really feel when he's teaching, I feel like I'm learning from someone who's a master. He really feels like a master. He feels like someone who's learned under a lot of different people. So, and his academy has a really cool vibe. The people there, super nice. And another big bonus about this place is they have acai bowls for $5 mil, which is like less than $2 at his academy, available after every single training sesh, which I had never had acai before I had this, but it was amazing. His English, he speaks English. He also speaks Portuguese and Spanish. So he kind of, he has a thick accent. But there's plenty of other people there that speak both Spanish and English, for you to be able to understand what's going on at all times. And it's not hard to work your way around that. Another big benefit about the Adelas part of town that I find is not something you can necessarily find as much in Poblado is the language exchanges. There's a lot of language exchanges going on at hostels and different places around Adelas that don't seem to be as common in the Poblado station. So if you're coming here and you want to learn Spanish, I think that Adelas is one of the best parts of town for just the traditional expat type of person. The next place that I went to in Medellin, Colombia was this place called Action Fitness in the Santa Fe Mall in I believe it is kind of around Aguacatala, Poblado. It's not too far from Aguacatala and Poblado, so it's not crazy far. This is a little bit more of I would almost call it a hidden gem. It's not something that is really easy to find. I kind of found it through a connection. It's not really online anywhere. I don't think you could really find it on Google. Perhaps you can, but the people that train there, really cool dudes. If I went on no-gi days, so they do have 2 no-gi classes on Wednesday and Thursday. But like I said, I haven't trained at this academy too much, so I can't really expand too much on this one. The next one on the list is Gracie Team Colombia. Gracie Team Colombia is an academy located in the Envigado parte de Medellin, and it's a pretty cool place. Envigado is, I don't know too much about Envigado. I'm not really well versed on what Envigado is like, just because it's kind of far to get to. But it's like a community within Medellin itself. It's its own city, it's its own place. But there are a lot of people that like it. It's a pretty nice side of town from what I understand. And this academy had more brown belts than any other academy. And everyone there, like I said, super chill. And funny enough, today I was actually training at Gracie Team Colombia. I was going in for an open mat. By the way, their open mat is on Saturday from noon to 2:30. So definitely check out their open mat. But funny enough, I was actually training at their open mat. I went in to go train at their open mat today, and unexpectedly I stumbled into a competition that I had no idea that they were hosting at this academy. Just a little small gym competition, but it was still a competition. It was still unexpected. I wasn't expecting to be training where everyone around me is watching, because it definitely takes things to a different level. So that was a ton of fun. Highly recommend Gracie Team Colombia. Like I said, it's a little bit out of the way, but definitely check it out. Definitely check out the people there. Last on the list, we have a GFT, which is Grappling Fight Team Colombia. And at this gym, if you're a blue belt, it's honestly a really good gym to go to, because there's a ton of blue belts that are training at this gym, and a lot of white belts too, but you have a little bit of purples in there, a little bit of browns. You have a brown belt instructor there as well. The mat space is a little bit smaller, but what I was really taken back by this gym is just the sheer amount of friendly people and friendly faces that I made. I made friends immediately when going to this gym. So it's located south in Medellin, but it's only about a 10-15 minute walk from the metro. I forget which metro station it is, but it's not that hard to get to from the metro station. So it really, if you like to take the metro, this is a good place to go. And that pretty much wraps up today's video. You'll notice that I pretty much recommended almost every single academy, almost every single one of them. And really that's just because every single gym here, they're just filled with great people. They're filled with great warm people, very friendly people. The gym that you're going to want to train at is really going to depend heavily on the location that you're in, where you're staying in Medellin. So if you're coming and you're staying in Medellin and you want to stay in Poblado, maybe Gracie Baja. If you're staying in Adelas, go to Checkmat. If you're staying in Envigado, go to Gracie's team. If you're staying south of Medellin, you want to go to GFT, and I'm probably missing a few. So those are all different places to train. If you're training Jiu Jitsu specifically, I would really recommend places like Checkmat, Gracie Baja, GFT, Gracie Team Columbia. Those places are fantastic. So like I said, definitely check out the gyms here. I would recommend going to the open mats. Just the open mats are typically on Saturdays here. There's a Friday one at Gracie Baja. There's a Sunday one at MMA Columbia. So definitely check out the open mats. And I don't think you'll be disappointed in the training here. Keep in mind that you're going to need to bring a gi. You're going to need to abide by the IBJJF rule set, which you might already be used to. But you got to keep that in mind that people are a little bit more strict here. In the upcoming videos, I'm going to talk about the level of training here and the competition scene here and all that stuff. So I'm going to get into that at a later date. But anyways, thank you so much for checking out this video. If you found the information useful, give me a like, a subscribe. I appreciate any feedback. And definitely check me out on Instagram to follow my jiu-jitsu journey throughout Medellin and throughout the rest of my travels. It's @CheeseJake on Instagram. So thank you so much and have a blessed day. Peace.